you have any final words?
I do actually. I question my opponent's, where my opponent is coming from. Textbooks are expensive, tuition is expensive, and there's no way that we are going to stop that. What we need to do is get financial aid in the hands of people who really need it, and USGA can work with admissions and financial aid in doing that. Samantha and I actually did some research on that company, and there are very few colleges who employ this new textbook policy. We need to create new scholarships with local businesses and national organizations to provide money for textbooks. We need to provide more scholarships for students for their tuition so they can afford textbooks. There are many other options besides that, and I think there are many more pressing issues as well.
Great, thank you. All right, Mr. Bravo, how would you personally define the role of President and Vice President of the Unified Student Government Association at Loyola?
Absolutely. So the president is tasked with running cabinet, with being present at Senate meetings on Tuesdays, but also with being a representative of the university entirely. You know, I think at orientation, when the students hear the president speak, that's powerful because that's telling every student you have the opportunity to become student body president. Currently, right now, I don't know if that's a realistic opportunity for them, but that's something that Michael and I want to work for. The vice president is tasked with assisting the president in their goals and platform, but more importantly, the president and the vice president work together to inspire each committee chair, each Senate member, and each organization to collaborate together, to unite and create positive change.
I see the role of president as a facilitator. I have been in the legislative branch for 2.5 years, and I've done the hard work on the ground. I am ready to now move up in the ranks and help other young leaders move forward with initiatives to make Loyola better. I think that the number one thing that the president can do is, like Flavio said, represent Loyola in the best way possible, but also promote retention. I think that such an important part of Loyola is community. It's written in our Jesuit identity. And I want to maintain the community within USGA where everyone feels like they are working towards something bigger, towards making the value of our degree even more. For the role of vice president, I see Samantha as my equal, as someone who I can consult on anything and she can consult me on anything. I see her helping all chairs with committee work and writing legislation and working as hard as possible. Yes, that's it. Sorry.
Do you have anything else to add?
No.
No? Great. All right. Phil.
Yes.
What do you think is the biggest problem facing our student community today?
My answer is diversity, as I have said probably a million times. The fact of the matter is you learn from people who are different than yourselves. You don't realize that in high school, but you do when you come to college. You are friends with people who you learn from. And Loyola is lacking behind in the national averages. My freshman year, there was 107 African American students on campus. That is completely unacceptable. We need to instill a CDO immediately in the Board of Trustees who keeps the conversation around diversity going. In the 3 years that I've been here, the conversation about diversity wavers. It'll peak and then it will sink. It will peak and then it will sink. We need someone here who will keep that conversation going and institute diversity initiatives at all levels in the university. I can't imagine a more important issue. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago and I lived a privileged life. I'm very, very, very lucky. But there are people who deserve this education just as much as I do who weren't given the same resources. Loyola needs to provide those resources. In our mission, we say we are Chicago's Jesuit University. Chicago. Loyola doesn't reflect Chicago in the slightest, and our relations with Rogers Park is not the best. We need to reflect Chicago in our student body. We need to get admissions recruitment and recruiters and admissions in CPS schools and provide them the links to the scholarships that they can apply for. I can't stress how much how important diversity is and how all-encompassing it is as well. Undocumented students falls under that. Age, socioeconomic, racial, ethnicity, all of that falls under it.
Right. Mr. Bravo?
Absolutely. So I think by far, Michael and I would agree that the greatest issue right now for our students, and you hear with their frustrations, is that they're not aware of what's going on. With every single thing that's been the most controversial the past few years, with the meal plan increases, with the new marriage policy, is that students were not at the table. They did not have the opportunity to sit down with their administrators to hear about what happened. We proposed ideas, especially if you remember in November when we had the ice skating rink. We had the ice skating rink in Damon. The entire top floor was closed off for the Board of Trustees meeting. That was shocking to Michael and I. We would like to create a Board of Trustees luncheon for students to sit down and meet with the decision makers. A lot of blame goes to Father Garanzini, just as a lot of the blame goes to the president of USGA. But we know that it's the board members that are making the decisions. If students have the opportunity to share their frustrations, their concerns with these board members, that's powerful. That's something that's rare. That's something that we can do.
Do you have anything else to add?
I do, and I agree with Flavio that apathy is an extremely important issue, but Samantha and I want to tweak that a little bit more so it can be more effective. Yes, a rebranding of USGA could bring up voter turnout. It could increase the effectiveness of USGA, but I think an emphasis on community is incredibly important. Flavio and I love to do this kind of stuff, right? We love student government work. There are a lot of people who don't, and we want them to know that they have a niche at Loyola, that there are people like them searching for the same interests, who share the same passions, who are motivated by the same things. I think USGA needs to be rebranded in a completely new sense to emphasize community, that maybe you don't like USGA, but you like Frisbee, that you like stuff like that.
Cool. All right, this is the final question for me before we move on to our audience questions. Flavio, what would you say your biggest weakness is, and what ways will your running mate work with you to bring out the best in you if you become elected as the USGA president?
That's tough, and I think the greatest weakness is that I might not be the traditional leader that students think, the one that wants to take entirely command of everything, because I know that that's not how I want to approach things. I know that it's a partnership, Michael and I both, but also with the students. And I know that Michael can help that. Michael has different connections with students that I don't. I work in Res Life right now. He lives in Bellarmine. We have different networks, and if we can really work on those together, then we can really create meaningful benefits for students.
Great. Philip?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, absolutely. What do you think your biggest weakness is, and how will your running mate work with you to bring out the best in you if elected as the USGA president?
Thanks. I actually think my biggest weakness is pathos. I am an emotional person, and I get heated, but I think that that's a wonderful thing, and I think that I'm passionate. And Samantha always brings me back to what is the most important thing, and that is accomplishing and implementing initiatives and what we need to do. Even though I am extremely passionate, I couldn't imagine myself any other way, and I don't think that anyone else should lead Loyola. Flavio said that he's not like a traditional leader. Traditional leadership has been doing a pretty good job for thousands of years, and I believe I am a traditional leader. I'm not an ordinary student. I know that I'm not. And so that's something that you said last year during the debate that actually really stuck with me, that you said you weren't an ordinary student. I'm not. I'm an extraordinary student, and I think an extraordinary student deserves and should lead this government, this student body.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
Absolutely. With what Michael and I are proposing tonight, we're going to challenge the status quo. We're not going to be traditional leaders, because we know that maybe the best leadership for student government is servant leadership. One where you understand that others are more important than yourself, and that there's always an organization that may need more help than what you think is more important. So.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move into student questions now.
Hi, I'm Sahil Vaid. I'm a sophomore, a sociology major. And my question for both candidates is, what adversity have you faced, be it before your time at Loyola or during, that would help you identify with the general student body?
Great. Philip?
Yes. I have faced an incredible amount of adversity in my life. When I was a sophomore in high school, my father was hurt in a work-related accident, and now he is physically handicapped. It has caused me to grow up so quickly. And I have 3 younger brothers, and it has shown me what is the most important thing, which is family. And that is who I truly am serving in my life. The other adversity that I faced is when I came out. I came out during my senior year of high school, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my whole life, which, reflecting on it, I can't believe it. But I spent a month in a psychiatric ward to treat depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts, and I came out such an incredibly strong and diligent person and proud of who I am. And I'm gay, Sam's gay, Sam is a female and Latina. I can't think of what embodies Loyola more than that. So,
Flavio?
Absolutely. So, one thing that Father Garzini addressed in the State of the Students address this year was that Loyola has the most Pell Grant recipients. I am one of those. I can connect with the students who know how tough it is to pay tuition here at Loyola. My parents did not go to college, they did not have that opportunity, but that's something where I can relate to them. I think until you're able to be in true solidarity with them, how can you understand that sense of allyship? That's why Michael and I want to work so hard to lower tuition at Loyola, but in achievable ways, realistic ways.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Great. We can go on to our next audience question.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Buchanan. I'm a junior here, and I'm a psychology major. And my question is for both candidates, and it is, what have you done for undocumented citizens, specifically at Loyola?
Great. Flavio?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm the only undergraduate student right now that sits on the University Collaborative on Undocumented Students. Coming from Arizona, this was an issue that I still talk about at the dinner table with my family, with my sister, with my brother, with the politicians in Arizona. And I came to Chicago with hopes that it would be a safe haven for immigrants. I work with Catholic Charities of Chicago with the Immigrant Survivors Project. My goal, by the time I graduate from Loyola, is that we will have created a scholarship model for other Catholic and Jesuit universities to follow to help undocumented students with their process of not only attending Loyola, but succeeding.
Great. Phil?
There is no question that Flavio's done unbelievable work with undocumented students. I was in Rome last semester, and this is a relatively new topic, but I have reached out to you, and I've sat down with you, and learned so much about undocumented students. And Samantha and I have done hours of research to understand the issue better. And I've guaranteed you that we are going to continue the efforts that you have started with undocumented students. I've also reached out to Flavio to talk about undocumented students, and he never responded. I emailed him and Facebook messaged him, and he never got back to me while I was trying to learn more about this issue. I think it is incredible, and it falls under the umbrella of diversity, and I can't wait to learn more about it and keep pursuing the initiatives that both of you have started.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
Absolutely. I'd just like to say that, when I think about my family origins, I'm Latino. Spanish is my first language, so maybe that's why this is an issue that is so close to my heart. And I know also that, going back to maybe a flaw, it's that I do put my academics first. So during midterm week, if I get an email, I might forget to respond to it, but that's all.
Great. Next question.
Hi, I'm Joe Total. I'm a sophomore, and I'm a software engineering major. And my question is, for both candidates, have you done anything to promote school spirit?
Great. We'll start with Phil.
Have I done anything to promote school spirit? Absolutely. I think one of the number one ways that I've helped promote school spirit is through my fraternity, Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Greek life at Loyola has incredible school spirit and Rambler spirit. We just had an event 2 weeks ago that partnered with athletics, a basketball game with Greek life, and it brought out an incredible amount of students. I think school spirit is a huge issue on this campus, and I know you've done some really great work with helping school spirit and promoting school spirit, and I want to continue those initiatives through through tailgates, that's the word I was looking for, through different tailgates at different events and things like that.
Great. Flavio?
Absolutely. So I was actually mascot in high school, so that something's very close to me. I was on the varsity swim team, but here at Loyola, I came with very high expectations. I knew it wasn't going to be, University of Florida, Arizona State University with, large crowds in Gentile Arena, but I want to change that. And so this year, as a part of Res Life, I've been able to change that with putting on programs to get more students at games, to be at the Wichita State game. But even, what I'm most excited about is that I made the proposal to Dr. Kelly to bring Loyola waffles in our dining halls, and that's something that, it might seem so silly, and it's like, why would you want a university logo on a waffle? And it's because when an admissions tour is walking through a dining hall, the little thing of seeing a student, put butter or sprinkles on that waffle, that raises school spirit. It's quirky and it's weird, but again, students love it.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Great. We can take our next student question.
I'm Esther Castillejo. I'm a junior journalism and international studies major here at Loyola, and I'm from Venezuela, so I'm an international student. Both candidates talk about diversity, about Ignatian values, about representing Loyola in very different ways, about minorities. But on a personal level, in what ways do you represent the Loyola student community? In what ways would you be a president for all students?
Great. Flavio?
Absolutely. So right now I serve as a Men of Color Initiative mentor. That's a program that started my first year here. I was also part of STARS, which is Students Together Reaching Success. I am first generation, so I do tend to lean where I identify with minorities here at Loyola. That's, a lot of my friends are minorities because we realize we're in this together. A lot of us are experiencing college for the first time. So I don't think it's that unique to have a president who is a minority, someone that can be an allyship and represent the entire student body as a whole.
Great.
I think your question was really great. My minority status is being homosexual. Like I said before, this new marriage policy that was recently passed at Loyola is horrendous. Sorry, I was looking at her. And we've been working incredibly hard to fix that. Before I started, I went on Urban Immersion, which was a freshman retreat and through campus ministry, and I learned so much about my sexuality and where that fits in with God. And I think that is incredibly important that I represent both a minority and that spirituality. I hope that was a good answer.
Great. Do you have any final words with that?
Yeah, I like to say that, I think what inspires me altogether, traveling thousands of miles away from home, running for student body president at Loyola, is because I've been able to feel comfortable with my experience here. But I know the reason behind that is because all my life I've been told that, you couldn't do this. It's too much, it's too tough. Your parents don't come from this economic background. And I think that's why I can relate with the same students that go through that struggle, because we're the students that, we're challenged to pick our major our freshman year. We're challenged, we have to show everyone that we have the confidence to succeed. And we don't want to fail. So.
Great. All right, we have one final student question.
Hi, my name is Amanda Freeman. I'm a junior marketing major here at Loyola. My question is Loyola has 3 other campuses. Now, what will you guys do and what experience do you have to make sure that people abroad are having a good time, that there's programs abroad for people to still feel a part of Loyola back in Chicago, and to make sure that they're still a part of the community here?
Great. Philip, do you want to start us off?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. As I said before, 35% of Loyola students study abroad, and we have an incredible amount of international students, like the person who asked the question before. Samantha right now is abroad, which I think is incredible. We're trend-setting because Executive Ticket has never ran from abroad, and she represents a huge number of students. She right now is the chair of advocacy for the student committee at the John Felice Rome Center, which is the only student organization, and she's been doing incredible work there to facilitate student forums with the administration in Rome so issues can be addressed. She's essentially running a small government there, and nothing like that has ever happened at J-Force before. One of my closest friends, Will Stefik, is currently in Beijing, and I've been working with him on different Beijing issues as well. We want to make sure that all campuses at Loyola, Maywood, Water Tower, everywhere, is being understood, is being paid attention to. I can't think of anything more important.
Great. Flavio?
Absolutely. So I actually work in the study abroad office. I've worked there since the first week of my freshman year. And I know that we have incredible programs abroad. I hear it every day from the recruiters I work with. But I also know that we're working to create new ones. And so we just got a new director of the Office for National Programs. She's from South Carolina. And what we're excited is that we recently partnered with Santa Clara University with the CASA program to make sure that, yes, students can go to Rome, they can go to Beijing and Vietnam, but also for the same price as it is to study in Chicago, they can now go to El Salvador, to Argentina, to the Philippines. That's incredible. I'm excited about the work I've done on campus because I can make sure that students continue to have these resources, that they can go abroad, that becomes almost a norm through their time at Loyola.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Great. All right, candidates, I'm going to allow you now 2 minutes to sort of wrap up everything you've been saying. This is your time to address our Loyola student community. So how about we start with Flavio?
Absolutely. So again, thank you for taking the time to watch this, whether it's the live feed or the delay that'll be on Rambler Buzz tomorrow morning. So thank you. Remember that Michael and I are proposing something different. Why? Because we love Loyola, because we are inspired to lead all of you. We want you to be more aware of the issues that are going on our campus around university policy. We want to create true student change through achievable solutions. And if anything, we want to know that we are working and serving as good neighbors with our communities in Rogers Park as Edgewater. That means neighbors that, through holding meetings, CAPS meetings on our campus, we want to make sure that we are not just the ones making decisions and purchasing property on within Chicago, but that we're doing it with our neighbors, that we can make that decision together. And then finally, that with everything, while we're creating innovative ideas, we're remaining committed to the mission of our university, and we will dissect the mission statement just as the Loyola Phoenix does in their articles that we love to read. We're going to look at every single point of it and where does Loyola fall, maybe where are we successful. And Michael and I are doing this for you, but also with you. We're excited. We know that USGA is only as strong as the student organizations that make it up. We know that we need to change the way that student orgs approach USGA. We would like to highlight a student org every single week. We would like to have the fall org fair outside. We would like to have performances during our fall org fair, to have cultural organizations show why they're the best at Loyola. And we're happy to serve you, so thank you.
Great. Philip, any final words?
Yes, absolutely. The fact of the matter is that we are the most experienced and the most diverse ticket on the ballot. Loyola is 63% women, and I truly believe that a woman needs to be on the executive ticket and represent all females, all female ramblers. I also think that it speaks a lot about who I am to run with Samantha while she is abroad. I have been doing the double the work here on campus, and I think I've been doing a pretty good job. But I couldn't imagine running with anyone else because Samantha and I have been working together since our freshman year and complement each other so well. Our network is larger, our knowledge is deeper, and our leadership style is more developed and more effective. These are just some of the countless reasons why Sam and I must be elected. And like I said, we embody Loyola in every single way. We appreciate the Jesuit tradition in a completely new way. But yes, thank you, guys.
Great. Loyola community, that's all we have for tonight. Please join us next Monday, March 24th at 7 p.m. in Milady Theater in Centennial Forum for our next presidential debate and candidate rally following right after. Also, please make sure to note that voting will take place next Wednesday and Thursday, March 26th and March 27th. Please check your Loyola student email. Have a great night.